Florida, Trayvon Martin. But you know, it's not just Florida. It's San Diego too. Look at that. These are the names of people that were killed in San Diego by the San Diego Police Department. So we're here to deal with the grief of the family, to share the grief of the family of Trayvon Martin. We're here to deal with how we're going to deal with this. And what's more important is that unity of all of us. We have to work together on this. We can't be doing this every other month, every other week. We can't be coming together doing this. It doesn't make any sense. It's crazy. Think about what you were doing when you got the news. I know I got a phone call from a friend of mine, and we had just heard that the jury had went out to dinner, and they had asked for more information to deal with the case. You heard that? That was yesterday in the evening. So we were thinking that they probably won't deliberate until like Monday or Tuesday, and we were thinking that that might make a difference because they are asking for more information. But then again, it's Florida. I was brought up in Florida. I know about Florida. I know. All right, Mamiya. They got in there. We're doing it for you. Mamiya's speaking to us. I know about Florida. But I was thinking that it might be just an inkling. I had that really, you know, maybe. I am also with the Friends of Malcolm X Library. And I went to a meeting there, and they were all saying, hey, no way he's going to walk. No way. Manslaughter. No way.
Only in America.
We were saying that, right? We were saying that. You know, even though in our better judgment, it's like, hey, you know, really?
Makes no sense.
So I'm sitting there, and I got the phone call, and you know, the person that was sitting with me, she just said, I feel anger. You know, this guy George Zimmerman must be the worst hated person in the U.S. I don't know about that, but that's what she said. But you know, the feeling I got was really sadness. It was grief. I really felt sad. I felt almost the way I felt when I got the news about Troy Davis. Remember Troy Davis? Remember the day before they called like a little stag? Well, I saw that stag and I went to bed. When I woke up the next morning, Troy Davis was dead. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. I felt that way for Frances Newton. She was one of the women that was in Texas that was killed by the state. I feel that way. I hate the death penalty. I hate it. And more so, to have police, vigilantes, you know, be jury.
Here we go.
You know, executioner at the same time. That's not right. We can't let this happen. This park should be full. This should be concerned. This should be a concern for the whole community. It really should be a big concern. Lack of information? We got to do better, y'all. It's up to us. It's up to us to make change. It's up to us to make a revolution. And that's what it's going to take. It's going to take a community police review board. It's going to take that. The police have to be held accountable for what they do. They have to. So this is for you. This is for you. This is for you to deal with your anger, to deal with your grief. This is for the families of others who've been killed by the police, to deal with their anger, to deal with their grief, to deal with why. So I have a list right here of people. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to speak to y'all in between all the people talking, and I have to introduce my co-facilitator, Candy Hutton. So I'm going to let Candy say a few words while I look at my list. And I want Adrian from PSL. She's not here yet? Okay. I want Mario. Mario, come up. 100 men strong. I want Mario to come up and speak to us. But first, I'm going to let you hear from Candy. All right? Hang on.
What's up, y'all? My name is DJ Cuttin Candy. I am a hip-hop political activist. I've been DJing for 18 years, and I use hip-hop as a tool for social justice, to uplift our communities, the things that we experience. And I have learned from the godfather of hip-hop, Afrika Bambaataa, that we must organize, organize, and organize. This is what Afrika Bambaataa says. Say it with me. Organize, organize, and organize. Only us. Gloria said it not too long ago, just a bit ago, that it is up to us in our own communities. We cannot trust a system that fails us. We cannot trust a system that has never been for us. We can only trust the people and the masses that are here. And I will tell you why. Because we are beautiful people. We are resilient people. We are people that uplift each other. We are people that sees us through our darkest and deepest struggles. That we can only depend on one another to get us through. Because we are beautiful people. Because black and brown is beautiful. Say with me. Because black and brown is beautiful. Let me hear you say it. I'm from New York, y'all. I gotta get louder than that. Because black and brown is beautiful. Because black and brown is beautiful. Because my Asian people are beautiful. Because the indigenous people are beautiful. Because the LGBT community is beautiful. We cannot forget about all of our communities because we are not free till we are all free. We are not free till we are all free. And this is how the system tries to divide us. Where they divide us, divide and conquer. And we know this. We see this in our own communities. Me as a Pinay, as a Filipino woman, knows what it's like to be racially profiled. Knows what that's like when we lose our own people. And if you can find the compassion, you will find the passion and the community to build unity and solidarity. Yo, we're gonna call out to our next speaker that's been doing it hold it down. So make sure y'all give it up.
All right. Let's go, San Diego. You guys see right here in back of me, this is 100, some of the 100 strong members. I wanted them to come on stage with me and let you know that there is people doing things in the community. And this is a picture of us right here, okay? And you guys take the pictures of people that's doing stuff in the community. And if you want to be down with doing anything in the community, you contact us, 100StrongSD.com.
100 strong!
Knock, knock. Resistance. Resistance to bullshit. Okay?
That's right.
Let me tell you something. We've seen this thing over and over and over and over. I wasn't surprised about Florida. I'm going to tell you straight up. Florida has always been a racist-ass place. Okay? You got to understand the dynamics of what goes down in Florida. We have a sister that shot her gun in the air to keep her husband from beating her and got 20 years for that stand your ground law. Now let's flip it around. We got a young man going to get Skittles and a drink, and he's murdered straight in the streets by a vigilante. Let's say it, vigilante, okay? You guys need to understand that these vigilantes run rampant in Florida. He's not the only vigilante in Florida. Hell, we have the same problems here in California that they do in Florida, okay? You gotta understand that this brutality is not going to stop. This is not going to happen until we organize, like 100 strong. You understand that? Until we organize, this is not going to stop. You guys have to understand that resistance to bullshit is the beginning, and it's the seed that is planted to make this thing happen. So until you get up off your seat, get yourself together, and get organized with other people like this, we can make things happen together. Okay?
100 strong!
100 strong all the way. All power to the people. Eddie Price, Gonna spit some fire at you. And like I said, this is a beautiful thing to see all these people from different races out here in solidarity with the Martin family. So give yourself a hand. Thank you.
Like I said, my name is Eddie Price. I'm just a black man. That's all I am, for real. Straight up, uncut, no chasing. And we always talking about revolution and we want to change. I'm not a victim, okay? So if you want a revolution, I'm not going to start the revolution. Mario's not going to start the revolution. You going to start the revolution. You understand what I'm saying? Look inside of you and make a change. They not going to change. We talking about having a conversation on racism and a conversation on color. I'm tired of talking. Well, we've been talking for 400 years. They know what we're talking about. If there's going to be a change, they not going to change it. This is how they like it. If it's going to be a change, your ass going to change it.
Yes, sir.
You're going to go to the PTA and change it. You're going to become civically engaged and change it. You're going to do something and change it. Because like the sister said, I don't like coming out here every now and then to memorialize another dead star. Okay? We have a whole constellation of stars that have died since slavery and during slavery. If you want something to happen, you got to do it. You got to do it in your classroom.
Yes,
you got to do it for your children.
Yes,
this is not about Trayvon Martin. This is about black. Okay, he just symbolizes black. It's not about young black men. It's about young black men, young black girls, old black men, old black girls. It's about all that. Now I'm not putting out any of the LGBT and the Asians and the all them other folks. I love them too. But black is being persecuted. Okay, we being killed in the street like dogs. Okay, when they let Zimmerman go, that gave some other Zimmermans some collar popping stuff. Okay? And that might happen, like Mario said, in California. It's already happened in California. The Park Police did it to Oscar Grant. They just shot him like, you know, it was the thing to do. That's what they do. I have a son around here somewhere. Well, my son looks just like your son and your daughter. It starts with us. It starts with you, then you get with us. But before you get with us, you need to get with you. You need to come to the table with something. If you don't like what your city council people are doing, go down there and tell them. The change begins with you, not us, you. You gotta change how you operate. You gotta change, we have to value ourselves. They don't think we're worth a quarter. We're worth 3/4 of what they worth. That ain't change. So we have to value ourselves. Okay? Do you understand? Y'all looking at me like I'm crazy. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? You got to change this shit. You got to change your life. Everybody here got the issue at home that they have the power to change.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If your son or daughter is being jacked in school, go down to the school and check this.
Make a move. Yes, sir.
I'm trying not to cuss, y'all. You know, y'all that know me know I like to use the word motherfucking, kiss my ass and all that old shit. But I'm on the mic now, so I ain't gonna tell you to kiss my motherfucking ass. Do what you gotta do, man. Quit meeting like this. Let's meet like this next time and have a party. Okay? Can we do that? Now, can everybody look inside of themselves, and I'm gonna shut up. Can everybody look inside of themselves and find out what they're gonna revolutionize next week? What are you gonna do different? What is your ass gonna do different next week? In spite of the persecution, in spite of Zimmerman, in spite of everything, what are you gonna do to change your child's life? What are you gonna do to change my child's life? We got to step up to that, y'all. We got to go down to City Hall and talk crazy to them. We got to go to the school board and talk crazy. You know, on Facebook, somebody talking about a peaceful revolution. I ain't never heard of one of them. I really ain't. How you gonna have a peace? The word revolution means revolt. That means toss some shit up. That means draw a line in the sand and say we done. Don't cross this line no more. Now, it's up to them to be peaceful about the line you draw. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, 4 people understood. Does anybody else understand? Okay. Go home tonight and sit down with your children and ask them what they would like changed. What they don't like. Is somebody bothering them? When you see a police officer, yeah, they done shot a few of us, but we done shot more. We done shot more. When you see a police officer, say hello. Say hello. Say hi. Say how you doing? You know, can you take care of this pothole? Can you check Pookie? Can you do something? Can you do something? We all gotta work this together. I am tired of this shit. And I am scared to death because I have a 17-year-old son. And it seems like they're the target. They're the target. And I need your help to do this. I can't do a revolution by myself. Mario can't, 100 strong. We can get 100 people. We can't have a revolution. The revolution begins with your ass. Each one of you inside of you. Okay, so that we can stop doing this. Change the game. I'm tired of being a victim. Are you tired of being a victim? Yeah. Aren't you tired of feeling like this? Yeah. Okay, well change. Do something about this. Let them know that you care about this. Let them know that you value my 17-year-old son's life and his education and all that kind of stuff. You know, they had, what, 60 killings in Chicago. And somehow they don't equate that with closing 300 schools. How that, okay, 2 people understand what I'm saying. That don't make no sense to them. Just because we close the school don't mean they need to shoot each other. How that work? I'm a simple man. 2 + 2 is 4. So if you close 2 schools, we're going to have 2 dead people. Just because of foolishness. I say once again, and then somebody need to take the mic from me because I can carry this all day. Trayvon is a star in the sky right now. Trayvon, look around you. Look around you. Trayvon is in the crowd right there. Trayvon is in the crowd. Trayvon is in the crowd right now. My son is Trayvon. Your son is Trayvon. What we gonna do about those Trayvons? Trayvon died so we can come here and listen to this. Now you need to go from this with something. Not just, man, they did a good job. Well, it was hot out there. They was talking crazy. Go change something. Quit being a victim. Go perpetrate something. And I'm gonna say this and try to shut up. If you're gonna be 100, if you're gonna stay 100, you have to get 100. You have to be willing to lay it on the line. You got to be willing to go to jail for your son or your children or for you. You got to be willing to lay it on the line. Thank you.
When do we want it? You know, I was in Montego on June 8th for the 2nd year of the murder of Ernest Dunez. I don't know if anybody saw that video. Ernest was shot by the police about 9 times, and there was a video. I didn't want to show it to my son. I was visiting, 13 times. I didn't want to show that video to my son. My son went with me to the demonstration. He said, Mama, why are we here? I said, because we're standing against police brutality and police murder. I showed him the video. And he said, oh, Mom, I mean, that's horrible. The video has been seen by, all the videos posted have been seen by millions. My son told me, I'm with the Committee Against Police Brutality. He says, you have to teach our young sons, our young men, how to act when they're stopped by the police. No quick moves. Keep eye contact. Communicate. Let them know what you are doing. This is survival. This is what my son told me. I'm going to bring up the next speaker, Adrian, for Party of Liberation and Socialism.
Well, thank you for having me here. I'm really honored to be with this list of speakers. I'm going to share a couple of personal experiences I've had, things I've seen that have made me think of the Trayvon Martins of the world, that have made me, I think, reflect on my position as a white person in this society. I was in court once, and I want you to try to imagine the scene with me. It's a room full of mostly white people in suits laughing, and some of them are eating candy from a candy dish. But in the corner, there's 3 young black men with chains around their stomachs to each other. And they're all handcuffed to each other. And I had never seen something like this before. I knew that our criminal and justice system was racist. I knew that, but I had never seen it like this. And I had gotten to be 23 years old without seeing it, because I didn't have to unless I was directly involved with it. And I realized that even though I wasn't one of the bad people, I wasn't a prosecutor or a judge, I was a white person in a suit in that room. And it made me think of Bill Kunstler in the Chicago 10 trial, when Bobby Seale wanted to represent himself, and he was bound and gagged in the courtroom.
Yes.
That's right.
America. That was
That's right.
Right, and that's what made me
They did that
think,
to
this is
Asada, too.
America. I am in America. This is real. This is happening every day. You can go downtown in apartments 29 or 31 and see that almost every day.
That's what we see. Every day.
Yeah.
How do you feel being a parent and Trayvon's mother lost her son since you've seen the 3 men in jail?
How do I feel? I mean, I feel like I have to do something more than feeling bad about it.
That's right.
I know somebody in jail right now, and he's awaiting sentencing. He's an older African-American man, he's an Army vet, and he pled to a sales charge, you know, and sales as in breaking off a tiny rock of crack to an undercover cop. And he's waiting sentencing, and he's waiting to get into the one residential rehab facility that the DA is okay with, and if he doesn't get in, he's going to go to prison for 3 years again. And this is what his life has been like since he was discharged from the military. And I'm thinking about him, and I've been thinking about him more since the Trayvon verdict, but that's because I've met him. But he is one of thousands, and I think to say with the numbers, probably more than 1 million black men in this country for doing nothing wrong, for doing the same things that white people do, because I'm pretty sure I can try coke in the safety of my own home, and I'm not going to spend 1/3 of my life in prison for that.
How do you keep us away from the justice system? You say this guy's in...
Well, I'm going to wrap this up real quick because I want to get to the other speakers.
That question.
No.
You saying he's in prison right now on credit charges, getting ready to get sentenced. How do we keep our kids and the youth out of that system?
Well, I think that's...
What are we talking about?
No, brother, brother, let us finish the program.
Yeah. Okay, this is the program. We're going to have time for Speak Out. So let's let her finish her presentation, please. Thank you.
So I'm going to wrap this up real quick. I just want to say with the astronomical criminal number of black people in prison for doing nothing wrong, when that happens, for doing the same things white people do, when it's such a real danger for a black child to be gunned down by a police officer or some crazy wannabe cop, any day. And this neighborhood watch captain can go more than a month without being arrested for shooting and killing an unarmed black child. And I think the jury had a hard time thinking of him as that, an unarmed child. Because I think it was difficult for them to get beyond the institutionalized belief that black men and boys are dangerous. But when we see that, when we see these disparities, that is proof that the whole damn system is guilty.
Right. Give it up for Adrian from the Party of Socialism and Liberation. I'm glad that you're asking questions, but this also goes back to what I was saying earlier about organize, 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 because we can't just stop here today. We need to find one another. If you're standing next to somebody you don't know, introduce yourself. If you know somebody, give them a hug if they feel up to it. Make sure we love one another. So we need to organize. Get with an organization that's here. If not, form your own organization. That's what we're about. So I'm going to introduce our next speaker, because we do have a lot of speakers here tonight. And we're going to introduce one of our hosts, actually, with me. A wonderful and amazing organizer who's been doing it here in San Diego for years. And her name is Gloria, representing the Coalition for Free Mamiya. Give it up for Gloria.
Now, Mamiya has been writing essays on all this, on police brutality. He actually had a visit from Alan Bloofer's family. He's written a couple of essays on Trayvon Martin. And I'm going to read to you one of the essays. I think it's very appropriate here. This essay is entitled Beyond Trayvon. The Trayvon Martin case has rushed around the globe at cyber speed, due in large part to social media. It had all the markings of a national tragedy, and of course, is an ongoing one, despite recent charges. But what is not considered is what has come before. Florida has a long and nasty history of events such as these, but often the antagonist is a cop, not a civilian playing cop as here. In May 1980, Miami's Liberty City erupted into an orgy of flame, rage, and righteous indignation, stemming from the police beating of 33-year-old Arthur McDuffie, a black insurance executive. McDuffie wasn't just beaten, he was beaten to death by 4 cops, and all-white jury later acquitted all 4 of charges. My remembrance of McDuffie could have been substituted by a slew of other names, most forgotten, but by all but family and friends. Casualties of a long and dirty war waged by white supremacists, whether armed by the state or privately. People like 21-year-old Randy Heath, killed by a cop in Florida and acquitted. Timothy Dwayne Thomas. Anybody remember that name? Anybody? 19 years old and slain while moving through his neighborhood of Over the Rhine in Cincinnati, Ohio. His killer? A white cop who, though later indicted, walked free, acquitted. Indeed, the so-called MOVE bombing, when men, women, and babies of MOVE were targeted, attacked, and bombed on May 13, 1985. 11 people bombed and shot to death. There were no acquittals. There were no charges in a massacre. Yes, there were distinctions, but they are distinctions without a difference. For all of these cases, speak to the cheapness of black life and the American way of acquittal after acquittal after acquittal of white cops. In the Trayvon Martin case, we have a guy playing cop and a dead 17-year-old black boy. This is close enough. This is Mamiya Abu-Jamal, alive and not on death row. But we still need to fight to free Mamiya. Who's next on the list? Is the wife of Victor Ortega. Victor Ortega was shot by the San Diego police June 4th, 2012. We all still grieve for Victor Ortega. And we're going to have Shekinah come up. Please bear with her. Shekinah, come up. Come up, please.
My husband was killed by the police last year, but I'm here for Trayvon Martin because I know what it's like to lose somebody, and I know what it's like not to get justice for your loved one when they were innocent. So I just want everybody to know that we're standing here, I'm standing here, my family's standing here for justice for Trayvon Martin. And just like all the other speakers were talking about, it is time for us to stand up and do something. But even this gathering right now, it is doing something. You know, so I just encourage everyone to get involved in certain things, because a lot of times, you know, a lot of people just assume that the police are always right, you know, and nobody never really looks into it, but that's not the case. And I'm just here to support the Martin family, and I know exactly what they're going through, and I'm 100% with them. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to introduce one of the co-organizers of this event, okay? A bunch of community orgs came together today to put this event together. And a leader in our community who's been doing work as well. Her name is Cecile of the International Socialist Organization. Please give it up.
Thank you, everybody. One of the things that was really inspiring when we were flying for this rally today at 12 o'clock through City Heights is that a lot of people already knew this was happening even before they got our flyer. And it's catching fire not because it's the first time that this kind of thing has happened, but it's because, once again, people wonder why you can't get justice even when you have this kind of proof. The 911 call with George Zimmerman, everyone around the world heard George Zimmerman make a racial slur before killing Trayvon Martin. They also know that he was instructed not to follow Trayvon Martin. It's not clear from the call why he felt he needed to follow or call in about Trayvon Martin. And he called 100 times that year into dispatch about what he called suspicious people in his neighborhood. He's talking about black people. And that's why people are so mad, because 20 years after Rodney King, where again, people had proof, it was on video, how do you justify this? And 4 cops get off for beating a man. 20 years later, people wonder why nothing has changed. I'm going to quote a little bit from this excellent book, which I recommend for everybody to read. It's called The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. Michelle Alexander talks about how she started this research and what motivated her to talk about this. She was in the Bay Area and saw a sign that some activists had put up for a public meeting, and the sign said, "The drug war is the new Jim Crow." And when she saw that, she was like, I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. That's sort of an exaggeration, right? And the reason she published this book is because she discovered through her research that that's exactly right. The drug war creates a pretext for police to illegally search, profile, target black and brown communities and place them disproportionately in jail and strip them of all of their civil rights, exactly like Jim Crow. I'm going to quote a little bit from this page toward the beginning of her book because it has some really startling statistics that I think, if more Americans knew these truths about our prison injustice system, we would get a lot more organized and do something about this, because this is police brutality in this country is an international scandal. There's been a UN report that talks about not only the mass scale of brutality against people of color in this country. The Malcolm X grassroots movement published a study earlier this year that 322 black men, and we're not talking about Latino and white men and other people, this is just black men because other people have also been killed at the hands of police, but the scale of murders by police of black men, 322 people in 2012. That's why there's this statistic up here that thank you for whoever made this sign. That's nearly once every day, literally. All right. Just a couple of statistics. The United States imprisons a larger percentage of its black population than South Africa did at the height of apartheid. 3 out of 4 young black men, and nearly all of those in poorest neighborhoods, can expect to serve time in prison in Washington, D.C., the capital of our nation. Studies show that studies show that people of all colors use and sell illegal drugs at remarkably similar rates. So why are black people disproportionately being targeted and placed in jail? In black men have been admitted to prison on drug charges at rates 20 to 50 times greater than those of white men. And in major cities racked by the drug war, as many as 80% of young African American male now have criminal records and thus are subject to legalized discrimination for the rest of their lives. We have to end this. We have to be against this. We have to oppose the drug war, not because necessarily, every person must be pro-drugs, but because criminalizing drugs serves to enslave people in prison for profit. Our prisons are privatized and they're for profit. I just want to say a few things about, Mario Lewis was talking about, that we all are, to quote him, you have to get involved in fighting back. And I agree with that. And there are very, very specific ways that people can do that. Shekinah just spoke about how we don't have justice for Victor Ortega. How many have heard about Victor Ortega being shot by San Diego police last year? But the way that the news reported it is that he was a felon, a gang member. None of these things are true. He had never faced any charges, was found with no weapon, no drugs. He was a family man who went to church twice a week, took care of his kids and his wife. The stereotype that they want us to believe about Victor Ortega is completely false. But they use that to justify why they killed an unarmed Latino man, in this case, for no reason. But when 50 people went to the district attorney's office, Bonnie Dumanis, please hit. When we went to Bonnie Dumanis' office on February 2nd of this year, maybe it was February 11th, February of this year, to deliver 500 petitions signed by community members gathered by Canvas for a Cause, who is a coalition partner with us, demanding that they press murder charges against Officer John McCarthy. And we don't even know if he's still on the beat. They won't tell us if this man who murdered someone in San Diego is still serving. Officer John McCarthy should be placed on trial for murdering a man. If he's innocent, not only will Bonnie Dumanis refuse to press charges, she has admitted that she has no section of her department has even conducted an independent investigation of the killing. And she refused to even meet with us that day when we went to deliver the petitions to her office. We can fight this. We have to fight for justice for Victor Ortega, and that's part of a bigger struggle against police brutality in San Diego. Now, if you want to join us, we meet every other Monday at the Canvas for a Cause office. I'm going to read the address, but if you don't happen to get it down while I read it to you, just come talk to one of us and we will give it to you. Our next meeting is Monday, July 22nd. That's a week from tomorrow. If you want to get involved, please come. We're meeting at 6:30 at 3705 10th Avenue, the Canvas for a Cause office. You can check out canvasforacause.org if you don't remember that address, and you can look it up. But we have to get involved because here in San Diego there's also very racist curfew sweeps. The Mid-City Can, yes, thank you. This is the last thing I'm going to talk about, but this really does need to be talked about. And also, please join Committee Against Police Brutality on Facebook, because that's where we post updates about what we're doing, and we need more people to be involved and support us. With the Committee Against Police Brutality, we went and actually confronted the police and this institution that is sweeping up kids in City Heights who happen to be out after 10 p.m., which, by the way, is legal if you're coming home from church, if you're coming home from sports, if you're coming home from work, which a lot of young kids in City Heights are doing. But they were sweeping these kids up and bringing them to Cherokee Point Middle School and detaining them for hours, criminalizing them, requiring them to go through a program, and if you don't complete the program, you're not going to be allowed to graduate because you were outside after 10 o'clock in City Heights. But the research that Mid-City Can did shows that there's a higher crime rate in Mira Mesa and in Tierra Santa, but they're not sweeping up kids in Mira Mesa and in Tierra Santa, because they're targeting black and brown neighborhoods just like they do in every city across this country. We have to fight back. And parents are very, very angry about this. When we went to the curfew sweeps, we talked to these kids and we said, we stand with you. Don't let them feel like you did anything wrong or like you're a bad kid or you're a criminal. Don't let them criminalize you internally. Don't let them feel like you're a criminal. We're going to fight this, and talk to us when you get done going through this detention system so we can talk about how to organize. And a lot of parents are really upset. There was one kid who was coming home from church when he got swept up. Another kid was coming home from work when he got swept up. Another kid was coming home from the store because his mom asked him to go get something for him, for her, when he got picked up. And so these parents are very angry. And what I want to say to you is, if you're mad about the way that people are being targeted for police brutality in San Diego, please join the Committee Against Police Brutality. Come to our meeting next Monday, the 22nd at 6:30 at the Canvas for a Cause office, or come talk to one of us about your case, and let's get a lawyer involved and let's file a class action lawsuit and get these curfew sweeps to stop.
We're over here for justice. Stand with Trayvon. Okay, I'm going to bring up the next speaker because we're going to get through here because we want to hear from you. The next speaker is Renee from the Association of Raza Educators. Power to the people! All power to the people! And I can't hear you, I want to hear you! Power to the people! See, we need to be heard today. That what keeps happening in our communities is not, we cannot take that no more. Every day, like all the brothers and sisters here are talking today, every day, brown and black people keep being murdered, sent to jail, prison, and we can't stand for that anymore. I'm here on behalf of the Association Raza Educators, and I want to tell you real quick what we stand for in our community. The Association of Raza Educators was established to uphold the rights and liberties of Raza community. Education is an essential to the preservation of civil and human rights. It provides the foundation for the political and economic progress, and it must be a basic right of all people. Making this right a reality is a fundamental objective of ARE. Raza has been and continues to be oppressed by the educational system within the United States. Therefore, we are obligated to ensure that the education serves as a tool for liberation of our community. And I want to speak on those issues real quick. So if you're wondering why we're here to support our brothers and sisters in this inhumane, savage system that continues to oppress our people. Because the rights and liberties of blacks and brown and all people continue to be violated day by day. Because we know the day Christopher Columbus set foot in this land that belongs to indigenous people, the campaign for genocide was started. For the last 500 years, all black and brown people continue to suffer genocide. How is genocide happening? You might wonder that. You might not see it, right? Well, it's happening right in front of our eyes. Every day our kids get kicked out of school. Every day our kids drop out of high school. As a teacher, I see that. When they're funneled into the prison, the school-to-prison pipeline. See, that's part of what the sister was talking about here. This war on drugs, 1980 stuff, right? When the movement started to die out because COINTEL started to infiltrate all our community, then they came out with this fancy term, war on drugs. So what starts to happen? Well, where does all the drugs come from? Where do all the drugs come from? Yeah, we didn't go to South America and private planes and bring them over. We didn't do that. They were put in our communities. It's a setup. See, along with that war on drugs comes the increase of prisons. Today, we got something like over 10 prisons that have been opened in California and not maybe 1 or 2 universities. That's what we're talking about, genocide. They got money from prisons, they got $30,000
to put a kid in jail every year, but they cannot support that kind of money for a kid to go to college for 1 year. Let me tell you something now you should be aware about too. You know, this privatization of our education system, this is something we need to look at too, because right now, corporate charter schools are infiltrating our communities. They're pushing a lot of money into Up for Ed. Up for Ed is one of those groups that we need to kick out the neighborhood, because they're being funded by Walmart, Bill Gates, and all these corporate individuals that want to privatize our education so they can turn our kids to raw material, capitalism. They need our kids to continue doing this slave work. You don't have to listen to me, go research it yourself, you know. You gotta go research yourself. I also want to say that, you know, Leonard Peltier, you know, I want to hear you say from there, you know, we talked about freedom of Mia Abu Jamal, Leonard Peltier, political prisoners. They said it really clear. They talk about the genocide. You know, Native American people, sometimes we say, well, you know, they got the casinos and all that, but for the last 500 years, they've been suffering genocide. They suffer genocide when they're put on reservations, when they suffer poverty, when they go to sleep without food in their mouth. So, yes, exactly. You know, someone said something about very interesting, the new Jim Crow law, the privatization of our prisons. When this war on drugs started coming around, and new prisons started coming around, and the latest, the prison industrial complex is what they got established all over the country. I recently got a chance to go to East Mesa to teach some kids, and I seen this Corporations of America prison something in the vans, and I would say, well, what is this all about? Well, it goes back to the same thing we're talking about. Our kids, the prison industrial complex, they're saying our children, and they're putting them in prisons because they're being used as labor in there for the profit of America, capitalism. And we can't stand for that. One final thing, the militarization of our borders. I think you all heard about that. Congress wants to double, let me say that again, Congress wants to double 20,000 to 40,000 border patrols in our border regions. How does that look like? It looks like a military state. With our tax money, with your money. See, they don't talk about the brothers and sisters that are dying every day trying to cross the border, and that's what's going to happen if those borders if they increase 40,000 troops in that border. Brothers and sisters who are trying to cross the border, they're going to die in more masses. And those are the people that pick your grapes, your strawberries, that do the work that the average folk doesn't want to do. Having said, I want to say thank you for being out here. It doesn't stop here. It starts here. You got to join our organization. You got to join the group, because we need to take this. We need to take back our communities. We need to take back our schools. We need to take back the sports. All that, all those institutions, they're for the people. There shouldn't be no people in there. There shouldn't be no racism. There shouldn't be no black, brown kids being incarcerated at peak times more than the average white kid. But that's the way it is. We need to change that.
Take back
Thank you all for coming.
No justice! No justice! Thank you. I'm going to call on to our next speaker. Her name is Christina, also a longtime person in this community, representing the NAACP, y'all.
All right, so many of us were here last March in 2012, not even a whole month after the murder. We mourned the death and the lack of justice of the 17-year-old named Trayvon Martin. our efforts won the charge and the trial of his murderer, George Zimmerman. Last night we mourned and were arrested. Today we are all here because what we want is justice for Trayvon. On that night in February, come on, on that night in February in Florida, George Zimmerman took the law into his own hands, shot an innocent teenager, went to court and walked away unscathed. Y'all, last night, we tweeted, we Facebook, we point interested,
what's the name of it?
and then we made all of our Facebook profiles black. But what else? What else will we do? Mammy Mobley Till, the mother of the slaughtered Emmett Till, once said, "We cannot afford the luxury of self-pity. Our priority is to get on with the building process." In other words, we need to act, y'all. Hoodies up! Hoodies up! We have always kept them up as we work to hold our city's police accountable with community policing. Our hoodies have been up, fighting for the justice of our sister, Shekinah Ortega, who like Trayvon's family, lost her husband, Victor, to the injustice and impatience administered by a judicial system that is arrogant and incorrigible and feels above punishing itself or even coming out and correcting a lie and put out in the media. Our hoodies have been up. Because if you think you are just out here for Trayvon's sake, you got it wrong. But if you know Trayvon is not the only man or boy who has been or will be killed or front racially charges intent, hoodies up and keep them up. An article written a few weeks after Trayvon's murder attributed the positive shift of the association with hoodies to Trayvon. This item, the hoodie, especially when donned by our beautiful black boys and men, is associated with being suspicious and being guilty. The hoodies made the wearer anonymous, they say, and unidentifiable. Those who think our movement is trite and dangerous tell Zimmerman to fear his life. Let me be clear though, let me be clear. Nothing will bring Trayvon back, but I'm telling you guys, violence in that brother's name will only kill his memory. When I heard the verdict last night, I could not believe it. My boo calmed me down. He said, just because Zimmerman is not in jail does not mean his life will be better. And he's right, y'all. This man, Zimmerman, who stopped a helpless teenage boy, making Trayvon feel increasingly uneasy with each look behind his shoulder, will have to live the rest of his days with the same fear Trayvon had the last couple moments of his life. Today, our hoodies represent a cloaked reminder of the racially charged acts people in our community fall victim to. Our hoodies make us equal and anonymous because not one death will stop until we understand that the victimization of our brethren is the victimization of ourselves. Until we recognize Trayvon as one of our own. Comrades, brothers and sisters, wear your hoods for Trayvon. Wear your hoods for George Zimmerman's to come, who will not be acquitted. Wear your hood for the men and the boys in our area who believe nothing will change if we keep ignoring race as a motive. Wear your hood for the men and boys crossing the border to make life better for their families, but whose dream is deferred by the barbaric killings at the hands of these fools who are vigilantes but say they're patriots. Marijuana possession. Wear your hoods for the families being deported in the night, taken from their homes and shipped down south like slaves from plantations. Wear your hoods. Wear your hoods for the men and boys and women in prison being beat and doubly sentenced by silence and threat of retaliation by the same officers sworn to protect them. Wear your hoods for women in prison who are sexually violated or forcibly sterilized. Wear your hood! Wear your hood! Wear your hood! For schools in Detroit. Wear your hoods for Chicago. Wear them in Texas. Wear them for our African ignored refugees in California. for me, and I'm gonna wear my hood for you.
Latoya, please mic check. No justice.
No peace.
No racist.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No racist.
No peace.
Before we go on to Latoya, we have someone special up here that wrote a statement for me to read for her. Her name is, I'll read her statement just as she wrote it. I want you to speak for me. My name is Kimberly Harris. I'm here. I am deaf. Tell everybody, I'm here to support the family of Trayvon Martin. Trayvon is one of us, no matter if you're is one of us, no matter 18, you're deaf, or if you're hard of hearing, you're blind. Zimmerman is guilty and should be in jail. And it's not okay for people to kill innocent young children. Okay, Latoya is with San Diego State? Okay, now we're going to bring up Latoya with San Diego State.
I'll do the introduction here real quick. My name is Mike Gack. I work at Cal State San Marcos. I'm the vice president for organizing. See a lot of beautiful people out here. So we're here for a really fucked up reason, right? Raise your hand if someone that you love has been murdered, taken from you. Raise your hand, keep them up. Raise your hand, I'll put them down real quick. Raise your hand if you've been racially profiled before.
Every day. Every
Right. I've been racially profiled right down that street. I went to Crawford High School. I got homies from East Side of Lincoln. I know what's up. We've been through this. We've been going through this since day one. When you're born and you're brown, when you're black in this community, they start fucking with you from day one, right? But we stay strong and we fight through it. We keep fighting through it, but at some point, you get sick of fighting and not making any gains. We need to start making some gains. A lot of beautiful people came up here and spoke and gave you a lot of knowledge. And people like the Committee Against Police Brutality, ARE, and all these other organizations, if you walk away from here with one thing, make sure you walk away from here committed to getting involved. Going to change. We just sit here and talk about it, get together once in a while. We're going to keep doing this day in and day out, year after year. So just get involved. That's all I ask. We all work in the higher education community. These two at San Diego State, like I said, at San Marcos. We're unionized employees. We love our jobs, and we love what we do day in and day out. Every day, we help people get educated. We help them get degrees. We help them improve their lives. What have they been doing in the system? They've been making it more expensive. You graduate, you got that student debt on your back for the rest of your life. That's got to stop. We're here to support and stand in solidarity as individuals, and we're here to fight with you. Thank you very much. This is Latoya Jackson.
It's really hard to follow that, but I didn't have anything prepared today. I just, got up this morning and wanted to help out. We've been living in a state of this false reality for the past 30 years. And what I mean by that is they told us that when the sheets came off, the racism and the discrimination should have been. They told us that when Obama was elected president, then racism was over. Then 2 weeks ago, they gutted the Voting Rights Act, and racism is over. Yeah, we have a 17-year-old baby who is dead. He's not coming home tonight. Yet they're telling us racism is over. We have got to stand together. We have got to let them know that enough is enough. They think that we're mad now, we're pissed off, we're here today, we might be mad a couple of more days, another week, and then we're going to forget about Trayvon. We're going to forget about everyone else within a month. Don't you give them that, because we have done that. Look at Davis, Troy Davis. We forgot about him. We cannot let Trayvon die in vain. So when you leave here today, you get up in somebody's face, you let them know that this baby, who's not coming home to his parents, did not die in vain. We need to fight, you need to organize, and don't be afraid anymore. The cuffs are off. Yesterday's verdict was a pass. They already had the damn pass, but yesterday's verdict was a pass, an open assault on Black and Latino men. And we have got to say enough is enough. We're not putting up with that shit anymore. Okay? So when you leave here today, make it everything that is in you, that you are going to join an organization and you're going to be in the cops' faces, you're going to report it. Don't give me that snitches get stitches bull crap. You tell. There's a lot of injustice going on with the police department, the councilman, everything. You tell, you get in people's faces and you make sure that they know that you are here. Enough is enough, guys. When you leave here today, make sure you join an organization, you do something. Do not let this baby die in vain. I don't have a lot to say today. I am done, but I'm also pissed, and I hope you guys are pissed too, and stay pissed.
Keeping y'all alive here, okay? Don't want to lose anybody. So the next speaker is going to be Alfie for Canvas for a Cause. Let's give it up for Canvas for a Cause.
Solidarity. I'll keep this quick. I'm up here representing Canvas for a Cause. Canvas for a Cause is a non-profit, face-to-face grassroots organization. We talk to people every single day about gay rights, but we try to be as intersectional as possible because queer people, gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender people are people of color too. And they're Black people of color, and they're getting persecuted by the police right here in San Diego and all over the country. That's the way we see it mostly in our organization. I wanted to say that. I'm also supposed to mention that we're working with Victor Ortega and Victor Ortega's family, and we're not going to stop until we get justice for Victor Ortega. I can promise you that. A lot of good information has been said about that. I hope you listen. If not, you can talk to myself or Cecile, who you met earlier. There's been a lot of good things said. Holy crap. And I want to say, listen to those. The points that I want to make are this. I've been saying this a lot lately. There's been wins in gay rights. There's been a lot of losses all over the country. For gay people, for queer people, for people of color. And this issue specifically for Black people of color. And I want to say that we have got to find our activism, our own self-activism. Sometimes that means meeting like this in a giant, big amorphous blob. But the problem is that 1,000 people don't always come out every single day. So you got to find a way every day to figure out your activism. Is it getting in people's face? Is it talking to the people that you know? Is it just telling people that you meet on the bus? I don't know, but you know. And what you know is that anger, that sadness that you felt yesterday when you heard that verdict, that right there, that is your activism. That's your activism waking up in you and saying that we need to get up, we need to do something right now. Because especially for the Black people of color here today, I cannot imagine the grief that you must be stricken with and the hopelessness. And I have a small idea being a Chicano person. We definitely are persecuted, I see it a lot. And I can tell you that, I'm not afraid to say it, yesterday I was pissed for a few hours, but after that, all I could do was weep. All I could do was sit and cry, because I couldn't envision a future that had any hope. But then the other part of my head woke up and said, excuse my language, but fuck that. We're gonna do something about it, and we're not gonna take this thing down. The last little nuance I want to mention, and I don't know how this is going to be taken, but I'm going to put it out there anyway for the white and non-black people of color. I want you guys to, I know that we're all feeling a lot of emotions, but I want you to check your statements, especially when you're talking online where everybody's going to see it, or if you're around black people of color, because this issue is much different to them than it is to us white and non-black people of color. Now, it's very similar to a lot of issues that we're facing. We're all getting persecuted by the police. When I say all, I mean people of color. We're all getting persecuted by police out there, and it's bull. But I just want everybody to check it. I've seen a lot of crazy comments today, and they're really ignoring the specific persecution that has been happening to black people and black males here by the police. And that can't happen. Can't happen. What I want to end on is this, actually. And I know everybody does quotes. That's pretty cliche. Sorry if it's that. And if you watch the Boondocks, you've probably heard this. So sorry if it's a little silly, but it's actually a really serious quote. And it's from Khalil Gibran. Your pain is the breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding. It is the bitter potion by which the physician within you heals your sick self. Therefore, trust the physician and drink his remedy in peace and tranquility. You're feeling a lot of grief. We all are today. And I want you to channel that energy into something good, because I know we can do it. Solidarity.
No justice! No justice! No justice! We're getting the word of the day, which is to organize, organize, organize. That's what I'm talking about. All right, we're going to have one of our, before we even announce one of our final speakers of the program tonight, because we do have a community speak where you can sign up. I do want to announce that tonight at 7:30 there is a candlelight vigil at the Balboa Fountain Park that the NAACP and She Is Soul have organized. So if you would like to go attend that tonight, please come and support. We'll try to figure out if anyone's carpooling to head over there if it's too far. And that's again at 7:30 at the Balboa Fountain Park. All right, the next speaker I'm going to announce is Carl from the Committee Against Police Brutality, one of the co-organizers of this event. Everybody give it up for Carl!
I'm tired, y'all.
Yes, sir.
I am so tired.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm one of the co-founding members of the Committee Against Police Brutality. We formed in 1998. We hit the ground running. In 1999, there was a man named Demetrius DeBose, a former football player for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He was shot 12 times, 6 times in the back. Justified homicide.
Justified. Talk about it, brother.
I want to go back. I want to go back to 1921. Florida. New Year's Eve.
Yes, sir, brother. Come on.
Rosewood. I got a witness, Rosewood.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right? Now, Rosewood was a town of black people. They were very successful black people. They had their own businesses, they had their own schools.
Yes, sir.
They were attacked by the town next door called Sumter, by what the press called all-white mob, burned into the ground. In the late 1980s, Bill Clinton issued an apology to the survivors of Rosewood. And I remember that very distinctly, because at the same time, they awarded these survivors a few $100,000. Matter of fact, it was $150,000 they were paid. But at the same time, there was a super trial that just ended by a man named O.J. Simpson, and the people were awarded $33 million. What does that say? What does it say about the value of black life? Before fast forward a little bit, but as a matter of fact, I'm going to go back just a little bit more. There was a group of people that used to oversee the slave. They used to call him the overseer. And they were charged with keeping that slave and working them to the utmost. And he was good at it. He was good at it. They hired him because he was good at it. Where is he? Where is he? There you go. There you go. That's them right there. I ain't lying to you. That's them. That's their role. They ain't never changed. When police first came to be, their specific role was to protect the interests of the ruling class. When they patrol your neighborhood, they ain't there for you. You don't own where you live. You don't own where you live. That's somebody else's property. They're there for that to make sure you don't fuck up their shit. That's what they're there for. I know I read. That ain't my place. We're going to come a little bit forward now. And into the modern age, somebody mentioned it, the curfew sweeps. Do you remember that when black people were freed from slavery, they had to figure out a way to get you back into slavery. And there were two laws that they used. Loitering, curfew.
Yes, sir.
Today, we got curfew. What's changed? What's changed? We're still under attack. That law is a racist law. We have to call it that. Like the sister said, all they trying to say it's not racism. We know it's racism. We know it's racism. We know that George Zimmerman represents white supremacist ideology. Does he not? Does he not? They say George, what you mad for? George Zimmerman, he wasn't even no police. But he got that mentality. He wanted to be a police. He hanging out buddy-buddy with them, and you know they was buddy-buddy after he killed Trayvon when they took him down to the station. You know they was buddy-buddy. And they let him go. They let him go.
Didn't even check him for alcohol or any drugs.
Or any drugs. But you know what, brother? That's common. That's common with the police. When the police go out and they murder your family, they don't check them for drugs. They don't check them for anything. They check your ass for drugs. You dead, but they checking you for drugs. So, in this modern time, we got the same laws, we got the same tactics. See, they created a law to get you to go back to slavery. So every time you get a gang, they change the law. You get a gang, they change the law. You go through a whole process called civil rights. What they doing to that right now? Where your civil rights at right now? You know why? Because you ain't been vigilant. You let them, you rested on your laws. You said, we got civil rights, now we can rest. While you were wrestling, they were planning. While you were wrestling, they were plotting. And they're still plotting today. This is what this is about right here. We talk about slavery. This is about black people. No question. This is about you. This is about Africa. Somebody said this is about America. No. There's a man named Martin Luther King who said, injustice anywhere is injustice where? Everywhere. If your brother's over in Mexico, if your brother's over in Africa, if your brother's over in Brazil are being oppressed, guess what? You are oppressed too. You just don't know. There ain't no difference between them of us. They got the same enemy over there. They got the same struggle going on over there. How many of you know that today, right now, there are 30,000 prisoners on strike, hunger strike, in California? How many know that? They're out there protesting inhumane conditions. And we got to stand with them. We got to make a statement and say we stand in solidarity, because that's our people, man. That's our people. We got to stand in solidarity and say, we're with them. And if we got to march up to the prison to show solidarity, but damn it, we gonna do that. We gonna let them stand by themselves. You got to think about it. You got to think about it. And how they're being treated. Do you know how hard it is to stand up in prison? How it is to speak out and all the shit you got to do that they put you through? We got to stand with that kind of resistance. We got to stand with that kind of resistance because it's going on. You know what happened? When the 30,000 struck, and this was July 8th, it caused a wave of prisoners all the way up to Washington, Oregon, around the country. Now prisoners overseas are starting to strike. Man, we got to support them. We got to support them. My brother Alfie said, he talked about, I want to congratulate the LGBTQ community for getting their rights back. And brother says, man, why you support the LGBT community? You ain't gay. I said, I support them because I'm a revolutionary. I support them because I know that a struggle is a struggle. And I know that where somebody's struggling, I'm with you. If you struggle, I'm with you. Because I know that's the only thing that's going to change it. Us. Yeah. We got to change it. Now, I'm for using the electoral process, you know. We want to vote some people in. I have no delusions about it. It ain't going to change shit. But it's important for us to go through it. We got to show the rest of the world how full of shit the system is. See, you remember Occupy and how they were there for 2 weeks and they shut them down? See, Occupy thought they had freedom. They gave you that illusion, and when they got tired of you, they came and kicked your ass. Right. Because it's an illusion. You didn't have it then and you didn't have it before, and they just showed you ain't got it now. So what you gonna do? We gonna get it. What you gonna do? How we gonna get it back? Organize. We gonna organize. But what are we gonna organize? What we gonna do? What's the next step? Okay, we say organize, but okay, now what? Now what? We need people power, y'all. We need every one of y'all to become activists. I always say, there's a million organizations out there, but if you can't find one that you like, start one. Hell yeah! Start one. But remember, it's our unity that's going to change this. It's our unity. We can't let them divide us no longer. They created gay and straight, black and white, the religious division. They created it because it controls. It controls. It's easier to control you when you're separated from somebody who can actually give you a hand. That's what they do. And it's the oldest tactic in the book, ain't it? We've been dealing with this since before slavery. Don't let me go back to Africa and start talking. But we are taking only the first step today. In the beginning of a movement that will start here in San Diego. It will connect up with the people in Arizona, Texas, the other people in Colorado, I'm trying to remember the states, Utah, Oregon, all 50 of them. But they gonna connect. But the point is they're gonna connect. Go home and do your research. Go home and put it in a search engine and look up what's going on around the country. Look what's going on around the world. The world's supporting us. They're supporting the struggle for justice for Trayvon. They're supporting us. What are we gonna do? Well, we have this organization called Cop Watch. And we named it after a man who was one of my heroes. His name was Sagan Penn. Anybody know Sagan Penn? So we have the San Diego Cop Watch Sagan Penn chapter. That's an officially recognized group. He said, huh? He said, huh? They go out and they monitor the police and document. It's important to do that. See, they have this thing called the Officers' Bill of Rights, and this protects them from you. You don't get to see who they are. You don't get to know what they have done. It's a law. And we are organizing. We had a rally, up in Oxnard, April 27th, and we decided that we were going to march. Coming very soon, you'll hear about it. We were going to march. We were going to meet actually in Sacramento and then march to the state capitol. We were going to march from San Diego. I ain't marching from. I can't hear you. But we was going to meet there and march to the state capitol and demand that they change that law that protects officers. They say they're bound by the same laws that we're bound by, but we know that's not true. They say that George Zimmerman protected his life, and he had the right to defend himself, but didn't Trayvon have the right to defend himself? And you mad because Trayvon defended himself better than you, so you gotta pull out your little gun. Little punk ass. You know he's a punk ass. Come on. You know he's a punk ass. What? What's wrong with you? Get your ass back in the car. They told him too. Get your ass back in the car. What you doing out there with your little toy gun? Ain't no toy gun. They took that brother's life. That's right. But you don't need people like that in your community. But you know what? Be careful. I met one. There's a dude just like George Zimmerman in this community. I swear to I tell you. Right over there, I went to a meeting, and it was called by the police, and they were talking about, oh, how great the curfew sweeps were. It was such a success, and all these kids, they love being rapped over. But like Cecile told you, we went there. We went to the curfew sweeps. And we met parents who were pissed off. Why are you calling me at this time? Told him to bring my child. I told him to walk home. And they changed. They ran. They stopped having them. They moved them. They said they didn't want us to show up. That's resistance. That's resistance. That's what they see. When they run, when they hide their stuff, oh, we gotta change the way we move in here and do it non-regular. That's resistance. That's what you gotta do. Show up. Show up. And then we just stand there. And it helps the people who are being victimized. When they see somebody standing there with a banner, we support you. As they're being victimized. But back to my point, I went to a meeting and there were some people in there talking about how great it was. And there was a dude that stood up and he had a little, with that thing, the stun gun, had a little camis on, you know, a little beret. I mean, oh man, I was like, he stood up, man, we gotta do something about this. When I stood up, I said, this shit is racist. I said, you're attacking our community. I said it. No, I don't remember if I said that, but I'm gonna say it now. I'm going to say you are part of the school to prison pipeline. That's what the companies are. They're getting used to having handcuffs on. Putting it on your kid and getting it back in the car. See how it feels. See if it's a fit.
Put him out of class.
And then they take them down to an elementary school where they made a makeshift detention center. in an elementary school. What kind of psychology is that?
Prison training.
You know what I'm saying? I met one of the kids we met was from that school. He said, yeah, man, I went to the school. And they caught me up with a curfew sweeps too. Traumatized me like crazy. He said, man, I felt bad. I got arrested. I said, man, don't feel bad. You didn't do nothing. You didn't do nothing. But we have to remember that nothing is going to change through the system. I'm saying that for real. The system doesn't change things. Yeah, I mean, we might get some small victories, but man, they just take them back when you turn around. The biggest losers on the night, they over there working. You know, we joking and jiving, you know, all of that, and they're working. They got plans up your ass right now for us. And I'm telling you, it's re-enslavement. It's re-enslavement all over again. For all of us. I'm not just talking about black people, but all people. It's all people who are of a certain class. If you work for a living, you are a target. If you work for a living, you are a target. I want to shut up there because, like my brother, I can go forever. But we wanted to poll y'all and say, do y'all feel like marching? Okay, now we're going to announce we want to hear from the community. The community, put your hand up. We want to hear from the community. But I want to make a special request to have the youth come up.
Yeah.
Come on, any youth up there? Right here. These are all Trayvon Martin right here.
Oh, he got a beat rock hat on.
My name is Brittany. Okay, I'm right here, honey.
Louder.
My name is Brittany. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, my message is to the youth that we're calling up here to take pictures of. Pictures are not enough. I want to talk to you guys. I'm 22 years old. Born and raised in San Diego, graduated from Lincoln High. I am, you guys, Trayvon Martin was 3 years, 4 years younger than me. This is not enough. Us just showing up is not enough. We can't just do this anymore. Otherwise, we're going to keep doing this. We have to take it in our hands, us being, no matter how old you are, whether you're 10, 14, 17, 18, 25. It's up to us to teach ourselves. Our parents aren't going to do it. Our school teachers aren't going to do it. Our principals aren't going to do it. The TV isn't going to do it. The music isn't going to do it. We have to pick up the books and teach ourselves. That's the only solution to these issues. Otherwise, we're going to keep coming out here rallying, keep coming out here marching, not doing nothing but causing noise. That's not enough. This is not enough. We have to teach our children. We have to choose to teach our children. It's not going to be convenient. It's not going to be comfortable. It's not going to be easy. We have to choose to do proactive to work. These reactions are not enough. We have to choose to be proactive. That means sitting down, coming to the table with solutions. Talking at you and talking at you and talking at you, getting you all this information means nothing if you know nothing to do with it. If you don't know what to do with the information you're getting, you can't do anything with it. You have to teach yourself. That's the only answer. Go to your schools and tell them this is what I want to know. Go to your parents and say, why are there people that look like me in my history books? Why aren't there people that look like me on the TV screen? You have to choose to ask those questions. Otherwise, we're going to keep coming out here for Trayvons and Jordan Davises and Troys and everybody else. We can't keep reacting like this. We got to be proactive, come to the table with conversation and solutions, because this reactions and these marches and all this talk is not enough. Talking is never going to be enough.
Come on, son. Take it to the street. Speak up. That's good.
Let's get some encouragement from our brothers.
Speak your heart. Eddie, say something. Come on, give it to one of the little babies up here. They'll say something.
I asked the brother, I said, what would you have done if you were Trayvon and you were being followed by a strange man? Well, that's what happened. That's what happened. He got his ass whooped. He got his ass whooped. And you know he started it. He started it, and Trayvon ended it. He had to put his gun out. That's what happened. I want to hear something, brothers. Come on, man.
Give it to one of the babies. Come on now. Let's go.
My name is Scott Franklin, and once my teacher didn't want me to talk about black people, and I told my mom.
You told your mom on her? Good. Yeah, you should have told your mom. That's right. And tell on her again. You should do it.
I was trying to talk about how the Pilgrims tricked the Indians for our land.
Thank you. All right.
Hello, that was my 7-year-old son, and basically what he ran into this year, which I was reminded of on Friday. A lot of stuff happened on Friday to me, which was circular. But the first thing that happened to me on Friday was we got into a fender bender, and the lady came over to the car, and she looked inside, she saw that we were black, and she went back to her car, and she came back. My 16-year-old was with me, and my 7-year-old, and she came back, and she said, "Did you all hit me on purpose? Because my cell phone is missing." And I ignored her, and she said, "I asked if you hit me on purpose because my cell phone was there, and now it's missing." And I said, "Lady, I'm not answering that." But when she did that to us, I thought of Trayvon, because that's being profiled by everyday citizens. And we go through that when we're black and we're brown. And sometimes I've seen it a lot, even with our youth. Our youth are out here, all the youth, all colors are out here being disrespected and age discriminated on just because they're young. And it's not right. The second thing was when I went to Family Friday and I saw his teacher, and I thought about the conversation when she told me, I go by the curriculum. So we're uncomfortable with your son coming to class talking about slavery. And it reminded me, and it showed me that biological determinism is alive and well in our education system today. That's first grade. That's first grade. And she also gives math tests and marks it up in red to make him think that he can't do math. That's all part of biological determinism. When that happened, when I thought of that, I thought of Trayvon. because that happened to him too. He is part of that biological determinism. The last thing that happened was 10 o'clock at night, 10:05, my son is calling saying he's on his way home for dinner from the Euclid trolley station. And I said, well, hurry up, son, because they got them curfew sweeps. And sure enough, next thing you know, they're calling me, telling me my son is under arrest. My 16-year-old, 3.25 student right here, never been in trouble in his life. When I walked in there, because 4 years ago I report for the Voice and Viewpoint. I do a lot of community activism. I stay informed. That's what we have to do so that when we run into these situations, we can check them. And that's exactly what I did. I walked in there and I said, you know what? Why are you guys still doing this to our boys? I walked in there and there was all black and brown boys in handcuffs for no reason. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap up. But I thought of Trayvon, and you know, I told him, I'm like, I know the real reason that you guys are here. It's not, you know, because of this or that and the other, which they're trying to tell me to keep our kids safe. No, it's bigger than that. It's larger than that why you're here. I heard from the DA's office 4 years ago when they said that they were casing some Lincoln Heights students and they were gangbangers, and they realized they could get stiffer charges on them if they put sexual trafficking charges on them, and they started the suites to get their girlfriends to say, yeah, my boyfriend put me out. And then 6 months after that, then I asked him then, because I was just at the DA's office, and 100 Strong or anybody wasn't invited from the community. It was just the DA's and the cops, so they let all that out. But 6 months later, when they had the front meeting, then they tried to make it seem like it was a big deal that the whole community should vote on this new law to make steeper penalty on the sexual trafficking, but really what they were trying to do is put felonies on our boys. And that started with the curfew suites. So you have to be informed. And when I went in there on Friday night, I told them about that, I checked them, they backed off. But if you're not an informed parent, they're going to go in there and they make you plea bargain. And they're making all these boys plea bargain at 14, 15, 16. So I'm just saying, stay informed, do what you got to do, use this energy to rise up again, and go out there and take a stand for what's going on today.
We're going to go into our open mic. It's not really open mic, but we have a list of speakers from the community who want to speak, okay? So we're going to start with an elder we have here. Ulysses Kiana is from Guyana, okay? And he has a message for you. Just stay where you are. Stay where you are.
Thank you, Sister Gloria. Sisters and brothers, hail! Hello! My respect. I am here as an old man to encourage you. There will be no justice unless all of you standing there, close ranks and demand it. That's right. And do not give up until it is won. Why do you think the state power came to the rescue of Zimmerman, whom they are reminding us is Hispanic? Because his victim was an African American. And these people want to set dissension between these two groups that they have not been able to control. So I say to you, stand your ground. Stand your ground. There's a lot of advantage in the Zimmerman case for people like the Corrections Corporation of America, the prison giants, and the small minority that really governs. Congress makes laws. but there is a small handful that governs the country. Congress doesn't do it. In coming to the rescue of Zimmerman, they are not only trying to set arguments and dissension between African American and Latino and Latina. They are trying to flatter the white youth that this is not your fate. And it is to them I want to address these words. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. Because what they want to do, these people really are after profit. And they will go for what is most profitable. And when there are no more blacks and browns to jail, they will jail whites. The only way, therefore, to prevent it is to stand firmly from now. Many years ago, one political activist warned white workers in the United States of America, you cannot free labor in the white skin when in the black skin it is branded. And I want all of you here to let everyone know that it is no accident that the longest serving political prisoners are Abu Jamal Mumia, an African American, and Leonard Peltier, a Native American, because they want us to believe that the history of the Native American began with Columbus. It did not. And they want us to believe that African history began with the slave ship, and it did not. So sisters and brothers, I congratulate you on coming out here today, and I say, do not be divided by these gifts. Stand your ground, defend Trayvon Martin and those whose names they have listed in some secret place for penalties. Thank you.
Give it up for Ria Bani of KMD and her partner, Odessa King.
What do we want? Justice. And when do we want it? Now. I said, what do we want? Justice. And when do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. And when do we want it? Now.
My name is Ree Quinones. Last year, when we all marched downtown, first of all, I'm here to represent Kabataang Makabayan Pro-People Youth. Last year when we marched, where's my husband and my daughter? This little girl was in my womb when we marched, when Trayvon Martin was first murdered. And the reality is that she was born into this world. I'm speaking to these beautiful brown, black youth standing before us. We were born into this world of injustice, and that is the sad reality. We are Filipino-Mexican. We stand here in solidarity with our black brothers and sisters, representing Skyline San Diego, Southeast San Diego. And so you ask yourselves, well, how are we connected to this loss and to this tragedy and to this trauma? Imperialism and capitalism is no stranger to us in our country. Slavery and indentured servants is no stranger to our people. The miseducation of our youth is no stranger to our people. So when the young brother came up here and spoke about how he had to check his teacher about the pilgrims in this land, my son Khalil, my son Javier, they come home with the same kind of education. So what is it? It's the responsibilities of us as parents and as mothers and fathers to raise their consciousness and education to a different level, yes? It is our responsibility to sharpen their analysis and critical analysis of what's happening now. So I'm going to cut this short so we can get to the streets in March. I just want to say we have to continue educating, organizing, mobilizing, and sharpening the minds of these youth right here, okay? What do we want? When do we want it?
it's important that today we stand as one people. Black, brown, Arab, Muslim, Asian, Pacific Islander.